I mean, I guess.
Okay, Mayor, we're gonna turn it over to you. Send. I see your cousin sitting out there. If you want to recognize her first, we'll deal with that.
Always good to see cousin.
Always.
Absolutely.
She's all the way here from Vivian. Yeah.
But now I'm not going to misidentify her hometown of origin.
Oh, okay.
I just know that she is one of the grand ladies of Shreveport.
Wow, man.
It's my pleasure to welcome Mrs. Bradford and all of the folks who are here with us today. Anybody who takes time from what I know are busy schedules to come and be a part of council proceedings are much appreciated. So those who are here live or watching us by Ustream, welcome and thank you for engaging. Also, we'll wrap all of the communications up in one if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman.
Miss Bradford, if his daddy would hear him talking like that, he would say, well, you know, that's a Glover.
He would say that's a Bradford Glover.
Well, right, but he said as a Glover. Your mama was said as a Bradford Glover. Okay.
She might say a Thomas as well, Mr. Shine.
Well, might.
And a little Taylor mixed in.
There you go. She might. Dale, you see that, huh?
I see that.
All right.
Got to cover them all, Mr. Shine.
There you go. Okay.
Just want to also, Mr. Chairman, members of the council, express a thanks and appreciation to the folks across the city of Shreveport who had so many wonderful things occurring this past weekend. I can't name them all, but for folks who say that there's nothing positive, wonderful, fun to do in the city of Shreveport, they obviously were not here. From all the things that happened downtown with Asiana to watching the tailgate party under the bridge at down in the Red River District to yesterday's fundraiser and block party over at Herbie K's and all the other things in between. Another outstanding Soul Bowl this year held on a Saturday.
And I took part in the parade.
Absolutely.
There you
Absolutely.
go. I look for you, Dale.
Wonderful weekend.
Couldn't make it. Okay, then.
He was down in Vernon Parish, I believe, Mr. Shine. They had a few events down there he just had to attend to. So,
well, you know they celebrate down there all the time.
Great things happening all across the city of Shreveport, and my thanks to all the folks who were part of helping making them happen.
I mean,
With that, turn it back over to you.
I knew his principal.
Wasn't
he something else? A-Rod Russian was a dude.
Yeah, we'll look at it without practice.
Okay,
Also, we got a chance to.
any council members? I'm gonna start with Jeff because I think he might have 4 or 5 people he wanna.
Well, I'm going to call Barry Rochelle up, and if the rest of the party comes in a little later, we can call them up. But Barry, if you could come up.
You don't have to introduce.
Barry's here to speak about, he works with a group of people who are business owners on Lake Street, and some of them may not be able to attend the public hearing tomorrow, so they wanted to be able to come today and give us some thoughts on the proposed Lake Street closure that will have a public hearing tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Iverson. We do have 3 or 4 more parties that are on their way here, and there may be some more here tomorrow. I'm not real sure about the closure of the area on Lake Street between Fant Parkway and Spring Street is what is the item I'm speaking to, and we have quite a few investors and owners that are on the 300 and 400 block of Lake Street. One in particular owner has invested about $1.6 million in revitalizing downtown, which I know has been a real big struggle for the downtown area. And now that he's done this, it looks like a portion of Lake Street is being proposed to be shut down that would stop the traffic input into south portion of downtown Shreveport. I don't think that Dr. Pogue would have invested $1.6 million knowing that Lake Street would be shut down. There have been 3 other parcels of property that have been sold down there that every single one of those individual owners bought because of location. Being a real estate broker, the 3 key factors is location, location, location. And they all bought and have invested well, one in particular, but close to 2 million now, is the location, and now the traffic's going to be shut off. I handed out to you one of the owners, Mr. Carl Rice, who owns Silver Lake Ballroom. He's unable to be here. He owns Silver Lake Ballroom right there at the intersection of Spring, or actually that's actually going to be Market and Lake Street. That artery from Fant Parkway to downtown Shreveport is vital to his business because he hosts all kinds of events and affairs right there at Silver Lake Ballroom, and it's their way to come in. The other owners, and I have no idea how long you want me to speak, or just wait until the others come.
Well, why don't you just wrap your comments up? I mean, you don't keep talking just to wait for them. We'll recognize them when they come, and we can make an opportunity.
The issue is with the revitalization of downtown. What we're doing is I believe taking like a hangnail approach here, and because there's a hangnail on your toe, you're going to cut the whole toe off. And I don't think that that's a very feasible way to take a look at this and just block that whole street. That area of Lake Street being cut off is the main entrance off of Fant Parkway to come into downtown Shreveport on the south side of downtown. The other problem that I see with this is the actual the traffic that's now going to be forced into downtown. I have yet to see any feasibility studies, any impact studies, or anything else. But there are too many people that are investing in downtown Shreveport to now have, have some major change done at this point in time. And that's, I'm going to stop right there. And I may come back up.
I may have seen a couple other folks that may be here to speak on the same issue. Ben and maybe Jason in the back. Is he maybe here for something else? But
Mr. Harris, is that a permanent closure, or is it a closure to do some work?
No, it's really, Mr. Weston. It's designed to be a temporary closure until a full armed and signaled no blow zone can be created there at the railroad crossing.
Would you explain that to these gentlemen?
Well, we were prepared to present tomorrow at the public hearing, but Robert can come forward and kind of briefly outline, because they may not have the benefit of all the information on it. So
okay, let Robert say a thing or two before, and then Barry, we'll let your other people come up.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mayor, the Lake Street closure is proposed to be only a temporary closure until such time that the necessary application and approvals can be gotten through the Federal Highway Administration and through the local railroads and through DOTD to create a no-blow zone crossing. To do so requires
what kind of?
A no-blow zone. In other words, you have a railroad crossing that has certain safety measures that are installed, and because these safety measures are installed, the trains are not required to blow their horns as they normally are. But these safety measures takes approximately 2 to 3 years to go through the process in order to get a no-blow zone crossing. This was proposed as a temporary measure only while we're pursuing the no-blow zone.
Did you all hear?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
And I guess to add to that, and this is a very difficult situation to try and balance, because Barry has made some very relevant points, and I'm sure Mr. Walker and Attorney Rice would do the same thing. I think we're all familiar with the challenges that the former Holiday Inn hotel has been experiencing. Now the downtown Shreveport hotel, since it lost its Holiday Inn brand. The primary reason, as we have been led to understand, for that loss is because of the constant complaints that come from the folks who end up staying there about the fact that the trains blow their horns as they go through. Because that is not a signaled train crossing, does not have the arms that prevent the crossing. I think by federal law, the trains are required to blow their horns as they approach a crossing that does not have the actual arms that would prevent vehicles from attempting to cross while the trains are going across. And so in an effort to try and figure out how to come up with something that would allow us to to give to the hotel operators the benefit of being able to have the horns stop blowing so that they can, and their efforts, as they've identified, manage to be able to reclaim either the Holiday Inn brand or some other premium brand and keep that as a desirable, viable downtown hotel. This is one of the ways in which the staff has come up with, in conjunction with the ownership of the hotel, that might allow that to happen. But yes, it is, as my good friend Jerry Jones indicated 8 years ago when he and I were running for the office of mayor of the city of Shreveport, you've always got to remember the law of unintended consequences. And one of the unintended consequences that could end up manifesting itself as a result of this course of suggested action would be some detrimental effect on the folks who are on the western side of Lake Street as you cross Spring and cross Market. And so that's why it's the subject of a public hearing. We want to be able to hear all the perspectives that are offered. Obviously, the folks from the Holiday Inn or the downtown Shreveport Hotel will need to come and be able to detail to you all exactly how this has impacted them. And obviously, we've got to balance that against what you've heard Barry Rochelle begin to detail, and I'm sure Mr. Walker and Carl Rice and others will be able to do as well, and make a determination as to whether or not we have a set of circumstances here that's manageable, that allows us to address this situation, or we don't. The best solution right now would be the immediate access to the resources necessary to put in the crossing arm that would allow it to immediately go into effect. Those are dollars that we don't have in the city of Shreveport. We would have an expectation that the property owners themselves would participate in that, as well as the state of Louisiana and anybody else. But that's the immediate set of circumstances right now as they exist.
All right. Mr. Walker?
Thank you, Robert.
Well, I'm Ben Walker, and I am the listing agent for the Spring Plaza office building at the corner of Spring and Lake Street, and I was also a tenant in that building for over 8 years under a previous ownership. I'm also the listing agent for the Times property, and I've talked to Alan English and to Mike Monarch. Alan's with the Times, as you know, and Mike Monarch is the current owner of the Spring Plaza property, and they're opposed to the closing of Lake Street in any way for any amount of time. That is a major avenue to come into downtown and to those properties from both southeast Shreveport and north Shreveport. So it would really hurt those properties if Lake Street is closed for any time. Also, in previous years, I worked for the C.W. Lane Company, which was one of the owners, along with the Smiths and the Raspberries, of those two hotels, and they were the original developers of those hotels, and they were successful for many years under those ownerships and with the trains going by. So I understand the problem that the mayor has expressed with the blowing of the horns, but that's been going on for over 30 years. So anyway, I just wanted to come and make those comments.
Okay, Barry, you have anybody else?
Yes, sir, I do.
I'm Bill Pogue, and I own the properties from 315 to 313 on Lake, which would be the Bayou Some Junk Cafe, the Tattoo School, and the Real Self-Defense Building, and some other properties in that area. And I feel that closing that particular part of Lake Street would stop a lot of traffic, which we need badly down there, honestly. I realize there's an issue with the intersection, and that probably can be solved another way other than closing. And again, I bought my property knowing that the trains were there, and I'm sure they built it knowing the same. So unfortunately, we live with that. But I would oppose that closing for, like the gentleman said, for any period of time. It would hurt us and our future sale of the properties. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Barry, you got somebody else?
Yes, sir.
All right, please.
Hello, I'm Jeff Spikes, 417 Lake Street. Co-own one of the properties on Lake, not far from where the opposed closing, obviously, is going to try and take place. I've been in downtown for over a decade now, and started my business downtown, grew it downtown. When it came time to get a building, it was downtown, and I'm kind of invested in downtown, or I wouldn't be here. So, once again, I'm opposing the closing because I feel like it's another avenue for my clients to get to me. I sat there at the red light a while ago and counted about 8 cars sitting there just in the one cycle of red light that I was there for. So you look at that all day long. I don't know, 1 minute per red light times 8 cars. You can do the math. That's all.
Okay, Barry, we'll let you close it.
Thank you, Mr. Sean. Again, I just want to reiterate that I know that one of the focuses of the mayor and the city council has been to revitalize downtown. And I think this is a tremendous step backwards. I don't want to say that anybody's getting special interest here, but I think that we are, to use Mr. Glover's illustration is there's some unintended consequences. I don't think anybody here has any issues with an arm being across any railroad track where there's traffic going across it. I think we would all support that. But to shut down even temporarily, and 2 to 3 years is not much of a temporary, that is enough to shut down businesses. We all struggle in our ownerships of our businesses to make it from year to year, but to have that vital of an impact done would just be, it could be tremendous, and there's just too much money vested down there. The DDA has also helped with these owners in their investment and the revitalization of these. They've invested funds down there also, and I just think that this would be in conflict with the direction of what downtown Shreveport is going, and the direction that these investors have taken right here. Mr. Walker did point out these hotels, they've been operating for years and years and years, and that railroad track has been there since before they were there, and they still operated. These businesses that are down there now, they purchased just like the hotels did. They knew it was there, but they also know that it's open. They didn't buy down there and invest all their funds to expect to have the road closure for any period of time. Again, I am representing several other owners down there, and they are totally opposed to any type closure of this, in particular for a 2 or 3 year period. That's just way too long. I know that we would all support putting the arms down, and I think that would be a good investment. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Okay, any other council members have any,
I'll just say I appreciate everybody coming down. I got some inquiries about this morning, and I know we had postponed it in order to have the public hearing, but knowing that everybody can't always be available at the same time, we let everybody know that today is an opportunity to come by as well. So appreciate you guys all coming out to let us know about how that'll affect y'all, and certainly we'll take those comments into close consideration. Thank you.
any other council members have anybody like to recognize? If not,
Chairman?
yes, sir.
Let me also join Councilman Everson in expressing thanks to these folks for coming down. It's exactly how we need this process to go forward, is to be able to get feedback and input from the folks who could potentially be impacted and affected by. The one thing I think that I would add from I guess a different or balancing perspective, and it probably accounts for one of the reasons as to why the ownership of some of these properties were so against the city starting and developing and opening the downtown Hilton, is that the hotel motel landscape in downtown Shreveport is different in 2014 than it was in 2008, 2006, 2007, 2004, and the competition has elevated. You've now got properties right across the river in the Bossier Boardwalk and others that are all within the urban core. The Remington Hotel has significantly renovated itself and become a more attractive facility. It's hard not to miss, though, that the former Holiday Inn and by extension the Chateau are both properties in decline. And that decline is something that does not speak well for downtown Shreveport. This new and added investment that has come from these gentlemen is extremely welcome, appreciated, and we think is a part of some of the positive activity that's happening in downtown Shreveport right now. I think, though, the challenge is to figure out how it is that we manage to be able to come up with some way that does effectively direct the Holiday Inn property and the Chateau property on a positive trajectory as well. When you add to that fact that the folks at the Shreveport Times have put a for sale sign on their building as well. You've got at least 3 properties right there at the front door of downtown that are having some problems. And at least one of those identifies that one of the reasons as to why they're challenged is the situation with the train. The ideal answer in this situation would be for us to figure out some way to be able to fund the railroad crossing so that you don't end up having to consider or ask you guys to take on the challenge of talking about a closure so that horn problem can be addressed, and we end up being able to give the folks who own the hotel the ability to be able to get rid of what they've identified as one of their problems. So on the one hand, we've got some good things happening. On the other hand, we've got some bad things happening. You guys will ultimately be left with the challenge of pushing the buttons that give us an indication of which way we go. Appreciate it, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Mr. Mayor, is that it for you? So we will. Where's Ms. Farnell?
We have Mr. Green here today.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I just got to talk to Mr. Green. Okay, anybody have any questions for Mr. Green?
Is Miss Farnell out of town all week, or is she?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is who you have to deal with.
I got it.
All right.
He's very responsive. I never have any issues with Mr.
Yeah, you see that, huh?
Okay,
All right.
but I have one particular issue, but I need to talk to you offline, so I'll give you a call.
Okay.
We're after the meeting today.
Okay, anybody else? Mr. Green, that's it? All right. Mr. Sibley?
Yes, sir. We'll have revenue collections, as well as I can speak to Ms. Scott surety bond at the next council meeting, first meeting in November. We'll have an update.
Okay, Ms. Scott, I know this is not your meeting, but do you have anything to say? Okay, you don't? Okay. Dale got on me one day because I overlooked you. Yeah, you see that. Okay, Mr. Thompson, I believe we have a public hearing tomorrow, right?
That's correct.
And from what I could gather, Mr. Sibley, y'all will have a presentation.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. We're in your hands.
Yes, sir. There are no items to be added. I assume there are no public comments. Okay.
Public comments.
Going into.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Public comments we do. I'm going to call up my friend first, Mr. Alvin Kirk. Mr. Kirk?
Obviously, my cousin gets no preferential treatment, huh, Mr. Shine?
Well, yeah. But I think she wanted Mr. Kirk to go first.
Okay.
The reason that's good. She felt like a month. Because that's not going to happen. Go ahead and ask if she felt that.
Thank you, illustrious mayor,
Captain Kirk.
good friend Dale, and my good friend Joe Shine is on the phone, but I want to also thank Mrs. Rose McCullough for introducing something to the agenda today and following in your father's footsteps as being a warrior for us people who are not able to fight for ourselves in so many cases. I'm here to ask the city council to please reconsider the amendment or the legislation that was taken that would prohibit the handshakes and solicitations on the streets on behalf of Sickle Cell Anemia Foundation. Many years back in the 90s, I served as the chairman of the board there. I worked as a volunteer from the 80s to the 90s. I served on the radiothon in the soliciting funds. And the can shake is the #1 fundraiser for sickle cell. And by prohibiting the can shakes on the corners, this has put a tremendous dent in the ability of sickle cell to be able to fight this dreaded disease that exists primarily among us. But it's not restricted to us, but it's primarily with us. So I'm begging the city council to offer a exception or something that will allow Mrs. Bradford and her
Mr.
staff.
Sweeney, I'm sorry. Mr. Sweeney, are you coming right back? Yes, I'm sure. Okay, we'll have you. Okay.
To get her, lack of a better term, I'm going to say her warriors together. When I say warriors in this particular instance, I'm talking about the AKAs, the Deltas, the Sigmas, and the Prince Hall Masons. Because we are there as voters, we are there as adult citizens, responsible adult citizens that know how to address ourselves in public and help Mrs. Bradford and her staff raise funds to fight this dreaded disease and to educate the general public. I don't know what kind of time limit I have, but I feel like I'm getting close to that. But if it's anything at all, any questions at all, those that I cannot answer, Mrs. Bradford can.
Okay, anybody have any questions for Alvin? Okay, Alvin, looks like you covered everything now. Miss Bradford, I don't have a slip, but if you would like to come up and speak, since you are the mayor's cousin and he's bigger than I am, and me and him was about the same size, Dale, I'd have brought my boxing gloves. You want to come up and say a word or two?
We use that as a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Now that we make some money on that deal.
Wait a minute.
I may introduce another idea here and fix this problem right here.
You know the mayor would knock me out.
Well, you said if you were his size.
We're interested in raising money, Mr. Shaw. We're not.
Yeah, you see what they're trying to do? They're trying to send me to the hospital.
They just want to see a couple of bucks fight, Mr. Shine.
Councilman Shine, Mr. Mayor, President, I will kind of try to go behind Reverend. But anyway, he did a wonderful job in explaining what we were trying to do. We know the audience did pass the last time we were here, but we have seen many people on the street collecting yet, and I did verbalize that earlier. Just asking if you could make special permission that sickle cell will be able to collect at a special time each year. And that is until we come up maybe with another fundraiser. That's all we have right now. And we have plenty of young people and old people and middle-aged people that need our help. We have to provide services for the sickle cell patients. And it's not a disease that you can brush under the bed or under the chair, because it's with you from the time you get up until you go. So that's what we're asking for permission today, from the special permission or whatever you call it, but it would be something that we could go with.
Ms. Bradford, I really believe if you all talk to our councilman over here who's over that committee, and he has a lot of compassion. And I've been told that he's a very Christian man, Reverend, and that he's in church every Sunday with his Bible, and I think you might be able to prevail upon his heart. So I'm gonna let him speak for a minute or two.
I mean, let me say, I'm just obviously one vote up here, and we have a committee that's, it's a public safety committee, and really in this type of ordinance, when it was proposed, it's very much function of public safety. That was considered. It was not the fundraising committee. It was not the, to the benefit of anybody other than the, overall safety of our citizens. I mean, that was the intent of the committee. Now, I know we haven't had a cycle where you've tried it with these new intersections yet. Unless I'm mistaken that it's already been a year, but it hadn't been a year, right?
No, just a few months.
This is the first time where you would try it.
Yeah, we were supposed to have it in September.
And then, why did y'all decide to switch dates, if I might ask?
Because we went and looked at the sections, the intersections that were okay, up to 35 miles an hour, and most of them, that was residential areas. So we know that there's no money coming out of there, because if they sleep a half a day and don't go anywhere, we wouldn't get anything out of the residential areas. We would do better getting them out of areas that people use quite frequently.
Okay, but you didn't...
No, we didn't try those areas.
Okay.
Additionally, this would just open up another can of worms. If we go into the residential areas and we're standing on the corners, all of a sudden, every council member here would start getting telephone calls. Why are these people out here?
There are plenty non-residential areas, because I see at least one person in this room on those corners almost every weekend with his group. So I wouldn't say it's exclusively residential, but I hear what you're saying. Do you have a way to break down by corner, by location, revenue sources for the last year, and or the total amount you raised in this, for your organization in this method?
Yes, I have those records, but I don't have them with me today.
No. I understand that. I was wondering if you could send those to us so we could see really where revenue is generated and what corners we're talking about.
I can do that. Who do I send that to?
You're welcome to send it to me, and I can distribute it to SPD and the rest of the Public Safety Committee.
By organizations and corners. Okay, I can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just want to make sure that we can say these are the most impactful and these are the ones to consider, and et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, I can do that.
Let me ask y'all this. Are you all asking for a permanent change? Are you asking for an exception on the day that you all would be out raising money? How many days do you all do this?
We be out one day.
Okay.
And usually it's the last Saturday in the month of September.
Okay, let's say suppose what you all are asking for is an exception on that particular day, not just a broad exception.
Exception on that date?
Yes.
Every year, each year?
No,
Mr. Shine, the resolution asks the council to suspend the provision for November the 15th, 2014.
Okay, so it's just that specific day. Okay, I got it.
Okay. And then, do you think there's any chance that you could get Mr. Muhammad to sign an agreement that he won't lobby this council for exceptions on his behalf?
I don't know if he'll do that, but I can sure ask him.
I'm gonna guess he won't. But I mean, we obviously have an issue here that is, it's not your one day. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. The intent is we're trying to set some permanent guidelines here, and we start giving exceptions, and then what's the validity of the way the ordinance is actually written today? So that's a big issue. I mean that's really the issue for me. I don't know if it is for anybody else, but that's the problem.
Councilman Jenkins, I promise you, we will talk to him.
Okay, excellent. I mean, that would be something that would certainly, in my mind, improve this.
And Marvin is a gentleman who will compromise. I know him. You might have to get him a bowl of fruit. I think he likes apples. And I've been told that he is a gentleman that will compromise, because I think he sees the value in what you all do in relation to people who look like him. You see him over there? Okay, and most of the people who have sickle cell look like him. Am I right or wrong? And I think he would, I think he probably would be receptive to the idea of helping a lot of people who look like him. So,
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
I just would kind of like to add to what Mr. Jenkins said, which is, it's really just not a matter of whether Mr. Muhammad, agrees to some sort of compromise. You've got to remember that legally, you've got to treat different groups that are similarly situated, such as nonprofit groups,
right,
that are fundraising, in the same way. So it's going to be very difficult for you to say no to another group. So I just want to make sure you don't think of it as being, okay, it's just this one time and just this one group.
I'm glad you made that observation.
Councilman Shine?
Yes. Wait, hold on just one minute. We won't.
Yeah, I sent a word to let me speak prior to the last two speakers.
Who was the last two?
You and Oliver Jenkins.
Well, from time to time, the chairman can
Oh, I understand.
make a few
I just
words
want
and
to remind you.
Right. We're gonna let you speak, and they're gonna be right there.
All right.
Don't y'all leave now.
Okay, we'll be here.
Okay. Come on, Rose.
All right. Councilman Shine, between Brother Muhammad and the citizens that are assembled here today for this cause, and Oliver, based on, my past experiences with friends who have actually been sick and died from sickle cell. As a matter of fact, Councilman Shine, I don't know if you remember Luther Boxley played football at Green Oaks High School at some point and desired to play basketball.
I knew Luther extremely well. Matter of fact,
Russell Road.
I taught Luther, and
That's
Luther
right.
probably was a little older than you.
No, we were the same age.
You all was the same age?
Right,
Okay,
and right during our senior year, Luther was 17 and I was 17. Of course, I was in Grambling at the time, but,
Mel, you
North
see
Side.
that, huh? She went to college at 17. You didn't go until you was 16.
Well, actually, I went 16. I'm sorry about it.
Okay.
He was 17 and I was 16.
Okay.
But actually, North Side Elementary School, I know you're familiar with that campus. And the neighborhood youth would actually go on campus at the end of the day to play basketball. And of course, this particular day, or one particular day, Luther was with his friends, and they were playing basketball on the basketball court at North Side Elementary. And Luther fell dead on the court at North Side Elementary School. And Luther suffered with several crises with sickle cell and wasn't able to get the necessary treatments due to the financial income of his family. But he actually died on the court up there at North Side Elementary School. And so, of course, he was a longtime friend of mine, and of course, his parent and my father actually grew up together. So I've kind of like been acquainted with citizens that have actually had crisis with sickle cell. And again, as I said, they're actually deceased now. And since I've been a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, you see I got my
AKA.
ring. This is one of the events that they have always been very adamant about, sickle cell anemia. And of course, I am too, because as it's been stated, the African American community is more largely impacted by this particular disease. It's not just the African American community, but over 80%. It's over 80%. So I've always been adamant about programs that would consider fundraisers and services that would enhance or help those citizens that were uneducated and, of course, were not able to medically fund what it would take in order to address the disease. And of course, now, Councilman Shine, you said that Miss Bradford is Cedric's cousin, but now, you know my mother's a Bradford, so not only Cedric's
That's
cousin.
right. Cedric, I knew I had made a mistake.
Yeah, you know my
I knew
grandmother.
I had made a mistake.
do any good.
There you go.
So not only is
That's
she a
right.
relative, Oliver, but
She was
she's
a-
also my sorority sister.
And your mother was a Bradford before
My
Cedric.
mother was a Bradford, that's right. And so, you know, it's the same lineage, the same bloodline. Of course, now, you know, you got a friend, Councilman Shine, that don't own us, that's a Bradford, but we'll talk about that later.
No,
Okay.
no.
We'll talk about that later.
He's a nice fella.
We won't call his name.
He's a
But
nice
anyway,
fella.
he's a part of that lineage as well, but he disowns us, so I
No, he
understand
tells
why.
me that he and Cedric are cousins all the time.
Okay, but I guess.
Threatened
due
to
to
jump on me one day, Cedric, because you and I disagreed over something.
Okay, but,
He must have been
again,
drinking.
I know you're familiar with, at our last city council meeting, Brother Muhammad did come before this council, and he did provide some very good history. And so that's why I was willing to entertain the idea of actually having this legislation placed on the agenda, Mr. Thompson. First of all, I'm very adamant about it. I'm an Alpha Kappa Alpha, and I know this is one of our major events, and I know that we have not been able to raise the money that had been raised in the past due to the ordinance change. And so I was more than willing to put this piece of legislation on the agenda. Aside from being asked to do it. But the fact or the history that Mr. Muhammad brought to us at our last meeting, I mean, it's a fact. It's in the records that this provision has been made before. And I hear what you're saying, Ms. Glass. You know, you don't want to find yourself breaking the law. But the law was broken in 2009. A special provision was made in 2009. And so, based on the degree of this disease, I'm just asking this council to consider a special provision or a special exception, expend the rules to allow them, just for the date of November 15th, to do this fundraiser, so that until they come up with some other options or some other ideas as to how to raise money in order to benefit the people that are affected the most by it. So I am at your mercy, and I'm asking you to consider supporting this piece of legislation or Resolution 206 on tomorrow. That's all I have, Councilman Shine.
Okay, did you all want to say one or two other words?
You,
Oh, I'm sorry, hold on. Mike has a question.
Ms. Bradford,
Yes.
what would be, I guess, what you consider the top 3 intersections that you are prohibited from using that you would like to use if this piece of legislation were to pass?
The top 3?
Yes, ma'am.
Probably Jewella and 70th Street. That's not it. O'Hearn and Hollywood. And something with the loop. What is that one with the loop? I think it's Uri Drive and Kings Highway. No, not Kings Highway. It's not. That's not it. I can't think of the third one, but it's out that in that direction. Pines Road is a good one. Pines and Greenwood Road. Pine and Greenwood Road. I think that is.
How about Uri and,
Kings and Uri is on this list.
That's on that list. That's a good one.
Pines and 70?
I mean, one of the issues here is
Pines and 70.
is state highways. So that's not really our jurisdiction to even opine on it. So remember, that's part, now we were not really doing it, as I understand it, and I'll let Julie correct me, but before we were granting some of these groups the opportunity to do it on the corners of state roads, which is prohibited, if I'm not mistaken, by a separate state ordinance, or am I wrong on that?
There is a state statute on that, but I think the way you ended up drafting this ordinance, and I haven't seen the wording of the suspension, but I would assume that the suspension would just be, if it were adopted, which I'm not advocating that, would just be to allow certain intersections above 35 miles per hour, but you would keep all of the other, regulations in place, and one of those regulations was that you have to stand on the shoulder of the road. And I think we looked at it and said, if you're back on the shoulder, then you're not in violation of that state statute.
I got
it. Remember
And I think
correctly.
there was a 300-foot from the intersection imaginary
Right.
line if it was a state road. But you had to be back that far.
Yeah, but that's
If you want
something
a cross
different.
section.
We have to go look at that. So let me say that despite what you asked for, there may be this state provision that trumps anything we can grant you anyways.
Okay.
Just so, I mean, on the ones, like some of those are state highways, so, but we have to go back and look at that. Okay.
Okay.
have you all looked at Uri and Piermont? Is that a state highway?
Uri is
That's a state highway too.
Busy
That's
right
right,
there.
because Uri is a state highway.
But they've been state highways.
Yes,
So
but
we had
didn't
permission
know
to go
what-
on them before this time.
Yes, but we didn't know, we weren't really aware of all the issues before
Okay.
we started this discussion. Let me say it that way.
Okay.
I'm not saying we are letting people break the law. We just may not have known everything about the law at different levels. So we have to relook at that. Okay.
Okay.
Let me just maybe close with this. As Councilman Sean has already pointed out, that Councilman Jenkins is a devout Christian. He's in church every Sunday. Now, I don't know what church you belong to, Councilman Jenkins. I've been a member of St. Paul United Methodist for 70 years. And I'm there when I'm not in somebody else's church. Okay? And we just ask for your compassion and for you to just step back, and we realize that you only carry one vote. But you are a tremendous influence on this commission. And we just ask that you will pray and let your heart guide your decision, sir.
Councilman Sean, may I say something?
Yes.
You know, I really believe we can get Councilman Jenkins to work with us, because I was in a parade, I participated in a parade this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I met this lady, a sweet lady on Milam Street. First name is Rosie, I've forgotten the last name, but she raised his wife. And she told me if he gives me any more problems, to just let her know. So I'm gonna get with you at the end of the meeting and make sure you get Miss Rosie's number, okay? So we can put Miss Rosie on all of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of influence there. That one I can't deny. If she calls, you got a good chance.
Yeah.
Now,
But I'll give you Miss Rosie's number.
if you all can work on Rose and Oliver, they are the two main influences on this council. You off and be successful.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Council members and Ms. Bradford and Captain Kirk, I want to re-invoke a term I used in the earlier discussion about the hotels and the Lake Street property and the railroad crossing, and that is unintended consequences. I think that this may be an example, again, of unintended consequences. If you go back and think about where this whole discussion started, and it was largely founded on the fact that the activity that was taking place in terms of street corner solicitations was largely being unregulated, and that in fact you had situations and circumstances, as I often saw, especially at Urey and Kings Highway, of children. I mean, literally, it was, in fact, one of my good friends, that was a regular fundraising location for his youth basketball program. As I reflect back on it, it was not.
Don't forget 7th Street and Jewella.
Well, other places where you literally had children who were elementary and middle school age who were out with buckets and sport jerseys and what have you, and cardboard signs being held up identifying their group, their organization, and expressing a desire for folks to make a donation. And people expressed alarm to me and obviously members of this council and law enforcement that we needed to do something about that. And that's appropriate. But now I think, unfortunately, what maybe has happened is that we've thrown the baby out with the bathwater. And that in an effort to correct some problems, we've done away with all problems. And
opportunity.
And at the same time have swept away every opportunity for the positive things that could happen from these types of circumstances from taking place here in the city of Shreveport, because this is an issue that not only impacts you all, it's been referenced to Brother Marvin Muhammad as well, but there were grown men who generated a significant portion of their income. And we had a person who came down here and spoke about the interest of the Shreveport Times in trying to sell their building, and that's fine. But the Gannett Foundation or the Gannett Corporation will ultimately take care of that situation. Frankly, I'm more concerned about the men who have lost the income that they generated from standing on the street corner selling Sunday newspapers, because that $100 that they may have made in that course of that day ends up probably representing a much more significant portion of their wealth and their income than that asset down on Lake Street does to the Gannett Corporation. And so those are things that have also been lost as a result of the actions that have been taken. And I know this particular resolution only deals with that small date of November 15th that's been focused on. But November is going to come around again in 2015, and there are other groups out there that are similarly situated to you all that should not have to reach out and end up with a cadre of fine, upstanding citizens taking time from busy schedules to come down here and appeal to this council and the city of Shreveport to try and do something. And so I'm going to ask, Councilwoman McCullough and members of the council that you all maybe use this as a starting point to try and figure out how you add some balance to this overall situation. Because if what it has resulted in is that we have a blanket prohibition at places all across the city. It was asked to name 3. I mean, I could name 30 that all represent prime, safe, outstanding places for properly equipped adults to be able to engage in an appropriate fundraising activity, as long as it ends up not being something that goes back to what we had. And so, we were way over here. Now we've come all the way over here. I would hope that we find some balance that's somewhere towards the middle. So with that, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Just before you all go, I think the mayor has indicated that the next time the Public Safety Committee meets, and Rose is a member, and she might want to call a special meeting, get with the chairman and call a special meeting, and the mayor sit in on it, and we see if we can lift some of the restrictions that we have. If the mayor sits in on the meeting, and because I know he'll have somebody from the police department, and because it was kind of brought to my attention that was actually where it started. It really didn't start with the chairman, because it looks like he's getting all the flack, and you know how it is if you're the head coach, and if you don't win, Might not be your fault, but they gonna say it's your fault.
That's right.
So, I'm not speaking in behalf of Oliver because Oliver was a fighter pilot in the Marines, and you know, fighter pilots can take care of their own self. So, you know, Rose might want to get with the chairman and see if we can call a special meeting.
Invite Miss Rosie to the meeting, huh?
Well, I'm not going to dabble into that, but you know, you and Oliver can decide on whether y'all want Miss Rosie or Miss Josie or
Yeah.
Miss Billy or whoever there. But this was kind of initiated as a safety measure because we start having so many little kids, and we only have so much money that we can spend for insurance. And so if Rose will get with the chairman and request a special meeting and find out what day the mayor can be there, and we might be able to get some of that lifted. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Appreciate y'all coming down, and I know Rose will continue to look into it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you all for coming.
Mr. Muhammad, I think he wants to kind of speak on the same subject.
Well, first, I'm gonna deal with what was already been said.
Okay.
Unfortunate, what people do, they judge the heart of another person by the condition of their heart, and they can't see past that. So for someone to suggest that that our motive was to actually, you know, do something further down the road is insane. In fact, it's hilarious. You know, when we speak, and I spoke with Ms. Bradford, that when we speak, we don't speak for the part, we speak for the whole. And I don't know how Christian a person is or not, but Jesus says this in the 25th chapter of Matthew, somewhere around the 40th verse. In fact, just read that whole chapter. It deals with the sheep and goat. But he asked a question was asked of him, said, Lord, Master, King, when were you hungry and we did not feed you? When were you thirsty and we did not give you drink?
Hear that, huh?
When were you in prison and we didn't come visit you? When were you in the hospital and we didn't come and see you? And he said, it's not so much as you did it. I'm going to let my brother finish it. But it's the least of these. And so the question today is, who are the least today? The least, my Christian brother, is the infirm. Those who are walking around with a disease that they can't do nothing for themselves, where they can't hold full-time consistent employment. We spoke last week to say that Ms. Bradford does a work not just for the city of Shreveport, but over 11 parishes. Think over that. Her reach, her breast. She has a breast that has been expanded due to the love that's in her heart. So I could really care less how you vote tomorrow, because what you'll be doing, you'll be really exposing who you really are and what you really think. See, this is what this is really about. This is about people, and I want to thank City Councilman Rose McCullough for being bold enough, being courageous enough, and being brave enough to offer a resolution that is service-oriented. And this is what this council is supposed to be about. This council is supposed to be about serving the citizens of Shreveport and beyond. So I want to thank City Councilwoman McCullough for that, because as leaders or in leadership capacity, a ship is a vessel that carries those over an unstable foundation. That's you all. So my question is, are you strong enough to carry the citizens of Shreveport across unstable waters? We talk about all these nice, wonderful slogans, a better Shreveport, believe in Shreveport, all these nice things. Well, how can these things happen if we continue to pass policy that restrict people just given an opportunity to pool their pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters to do something for themselves? I mean, how Republican is that?
Now let him speak. Go, Marvin. Go. Let him speak.
And this is the warped hypocrisy in all of this. In 2008 and 2009, up to the day. I hope you're listening, Councilman Everson, because you know you have a lot of people in your district that you're running for that this affects. In fact, some of them will be down here tomorrow. So you can say what you want to say tomorrow. And you tell them that. But we can pass an ordinance to allow the Shreveport Yacht Club. In other words, people with money. We can allow them to open up and run the Cross Lake with their motorcrafts, with their sailboats and whatnot, to raise money for cystic fibrosis, which is needed and much appreciated. And I believe in 2008 they raised $4,000. Now, she has a 501c3, so whatever she raises is public knowledge. And it's an insult to ask her to bring information down. She won't say it, but I say it for her. It's an insult to ask her to bring down numbers and talk about locations. So I'm not here for the Nation of Islam. I'm here for the hundreds and thousands of people that she serves in 11 parish area. And if that's not good enough for you, then I don't know what is.
Marvin, just before you go to your seat, you got a lot of talent there.
Mr. Shine, please. Chairman Shine, this isn't about accolades. This isn't about compliments. This is about doing what's morally right. And so today, we're asking, well, today, really tomorrow, we asking it, and I wish Councilman Sam Jenkins was here, since he was the author, of this, but maybe somewhere, at a campaign outing or whatnot. But
Mom.
But no. I want to be clear. See, if we have to sign something, what are you saying? I mean, what are you saying? What are you saying about a person heart? See, we really need to really look at what we're saying and stop underestimating who you look at. Because really and true, you have really been given an opportunity. We really here as a warner to you to guide you into 215 and beyond. This is what this really is. And you blowing it. And this city would sink if we have people that don't have the vision to take this city forward. This isn't about just sickle cell. This is about a mindset that sits in a gutter and that's not able to breathe above sea level. That's what this is about. This is about doing what's right. So we can do it for the Shreveport Yacht. Think about that. We can do it for the Shreveport Yacht Club. Not only, what about the safety issue from 12 midnight to morning? Motorcraft on Cross Lake at night. Not only that, but it's a quality water issue.
Marvin, you got 2 minutes now. Well, you can handle that any way you want to.
That's fine, and I can have a seat tomorrow because we're going to be here tomorrow as well. And we'll take those 3 minutes, and all the people we can bring for those 3 minutes. So talk to your good friend Councilman Shine and talk some sense into tomorrow, and hopefully we can do the right thing for sickle cell and to find people of this city and 11 parishes that she deals with that's unable to do something for themselves.
Okay, Marvin, you kind of repeating yourself, but let me say this. This is no accolades for you. You do have a good mind. Now, you can let it go in one ear and out of the other one. You can take it any way you want to. And I'm just not saying this, but I'm telling you, your argument has been extremely good. It's hard to convince me, but I want you to know you convinced me. Now, whether that's a stroke of genius on your part, or whether when you started quoting the Bible, and Calvin and I are Bible students, and you kind of touched my heart. And I don't want to be one of those that said that I didn't help the least of us. Appreciate it. Bring your group down tomorrow. Let them know that they will have 3 minutes. I hope you can bring 100 down. Let them know that they will have 3 minutes, and tell them to try to keep it from being personal. When you refer to council members,
I didn't make it personal.
well,
Councilman Oliver Jenkins made it personal when he suggested that I should sign a piece of document.
I'm gonna ask you to sit down.
That's 56 seconds.
But I'm gonna still ask you to sit down now. If you can't just wait a minute. I think you might have had Councilman Jenkins going, but you don't want to do that. It's kind of like a cow giving a bucket of milk, and all of a sudden she'll kick it over.
I'm not kicking it over, but we're not a beggar.
Look.
Truth is truth.
Look, you might not think that that's what you're doing, but tell your members tomorrow to don't do that, please.
We won't do that, but we don't want to be insulted by suggesting that we have a motive that's sinister in nature. That's what we find repulsive.
Look,
you want me to
say that, but when you start talking about a person's mind in the gutter.
That's what he said.
No.
What he said was, he said, let me ask you a question.
No, Marvin, that's it.
Chairman Shine.
No, that's it.
I was under the impression that you was an educator before you became a city councilman. I didn't know you was a lawyer and you was his defense attorney. He can speak for himself. Let him speak for himself.
And a doctor.
You is the defense attorney. Let him speak for himself.
Officer.
Since he has some concerns.
Officers, please come up and direct him to his seat.
Direct me to my seat? Man, you and all of your friends, y'all love calling the police, don't it? Man, please.
We love having order.
Man, I have 5. What is that? Whatever it is.
56 seconds.
I have 56 seconds.
Would you direct him to his seat, please?
Direct me to my seat. I'm through for the day. I'm going to actually leave government plaza totally.
Well, please, Marvin. All right, who's next?
Thank you, Marvin.
Ms. Johnson, we're going to let you come up now, please. Nah, he don't do a good job in this field.
Absolutely.
No, I just want her to, because she needs to get back to her.
Labor union.
I'm going to first say good evening to everybody.
Okay.
And hope that you all are having a good evening so far. My name is Sheila Johnson at 34.
Is Mr. Sweeney back?
He was, and he stepped back out. Councilman Shine. He came in, I saw him step back out.
Okay. I'm sorry, Ms. Johnson, go ahead on.
Sheila Johnson at 3442 Valerie Drive. I would like to get an update. Has anyone heard anything from the Shreveport Home Mortgage concerning the one-time fee of $1,000 for the city employees? Have anybody heard anything?
Dale,
Actually, the Shreveport Home Mortgage Authority held, we coordinated an orientation meeting for the new members on last week. They, at their next meeting, they intend to get sworn in and actually begin to conduct business, but they have not given us any indication that they intend to make a decision before the end of the year on whether or not they would transfer any funds to the city.
Okay. My next question, I would like to know if that, if that subjectively, maybe if it fails and they do not approve this, is there any way that you all can consider to looking into the budget to give the employees maybe, I supplied a letter to all the councilmen, I don't know if you all received it or not. Have you received this document that I submitted?
Yes.
Okay. To see if there's any way that you all can maybe consider doing a $1,000 bonus for holiday pay, maybe. We're trying to find some kind of resources from somewhere.
And we are too. That's something the mayor has directed us. We're looking at The council members know we're looking at it. I spoke with Mr. Webb and advised him that it didn't look like the Home Mortgage Authority money was going to come through, so that'll be part of the budget discussions that we're having in terms of any kind of merit raise across the board as well as the lump sum, because it all affects the same bottom line of the city.
Before the end of this year, maybe,
Well,
perhaps?
It depends on our discussions with the council and the mayor.
And we hope to be made abreast of that.
Yeah,
as
the ideal
well.
in lump sum, I think, would be to try and do something this year if it's possible to be done. But that's the discussion that we have yet to have.
Okay, and I noticed that you all are trying to put the merit increases back into the budget as well for 2015.
Correct.
The majority of the employees that I speak with on a daily basis, we've all come to the conclusion that we don't think that's going to be a good idea. Basically, you have a lot of supervisors, managers that do not see eye to eye with employees. And if that's the case, if you're going on, if an employee qualifies, then if that case is going on as far as the supervisor and employee do not see eye to eye, then that money still is going to stay within the city of Shreveport's budget. It's not going to be effective to the employee. It's not going to work in their favor. So the majority of those funds are going to stay within the city anyway. So that's why we were asking maybe that the merit increase be put back in for 2016, whenever that time arrives. 2015 is it's not going to be a good idea for the employees. It's not going to be beneficial to the employees if you put it back in for 2015.
Mr. Webb, did you want to say a word or two?
No, as Dale mentioned to her, I don't know how many other council members have spoken to Dale about this, but I know we had a conversation about it a week or two ago, and he said it was something that the administration was looking into, because I don't think it will happen this year if the administration doesn't come up with an alternative plan, and that's a possibility, and hopefully in the budget process, we can all come to some kind of agreement and make that happen before the year ends. So
We sure appreciate it, because we're just trying to find some kind of resources for the employees.
Yeah. Reverend Calvin Austin. Are you through?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have a question, Councilman Shine.
Okay.
I just know that the news media called me this past week concerning a meeting that I was initiating. Had any of your workers talked to you about a meeting that I initiated concerning raises?
No,
Because I
ma'am.
wanted that clarified, that I hadn't initiated any meetings, or I hadn't announced any meetings.
No, ma'am, that's the first I've heard of that.
Okay.
I know I've been getting several phone calls from some of the workers. But I guess all kind of rumors are floating around.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it really is. And I mean, I've gotten a rumor that you all promised about $1,000, and I was like, well, I must have missed that part.
I don't know where they heard all that this week.
Yes, I referred them back to you.
Yes, ma'am, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Appreciate it. Yeah, so.
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Speaking specifically from the administration, we took on the challenge of trying to figure out how to submit a budget that submitted a 6% merit pay raise. We believe that to be an appropriate approach to take to pay raises. If you will recall, it was merit pay raises that we had as a part of the city budget up until 2009. We believe that the effort to restart providing pay raises should come in a form of a merit pay raise. We do not believe that an across-the-board approach would be an appropriate way to go. That's part of the reason as to why we attempted to try and make it as high as we could. Not 4%, not 5%, but thankfully managed to come up with numbers that we think make 6% work, and that should provide a significant incentive and expression of our appreciation to our employees. Also, as Dale mentioned, we are still looking internally within the administration for an approach that might afford us an opportunity to be able to approach the council with a lump sum scenario for this current fiscal and calendar year. We certainly look forward to continuing to engage with the council about those possibilities. As Dale and Councilman Webb mentioned, they have had some discussions that have gone back and forth, and we're looking for ways to try and make that happen. But we do not think an across-the-board 6% is an appropriate approach for us to take. We do think that the merit-based approach is one that best serves the interests of our employees and the city of Shreveport as a whole, and that's the one that we've offered to the council within the executive budget, and that we hope we have the ability to be able to see go into effect for 2015. We appreciate the input that comes from Ms. Johnson and the other employees, but I would beg to differ in that I would think that there are a significant number of city employees out there who know that they do their jobs well, who believe that they have the ability to be able to effectively demonstrate that, and would welcome the opportunity to be able to take advantage of a 6% merit pay increase. So with that, we will
I have one other question.
continue to respond as appropriate.
Say, for instance, you're going to do an evaluation merit increase. If there's sanitation, those employees over there do not get evaluated, how will that affect them? How will their increases? They don't get yearly evaluations or 6-month evaluations.
However it is that they were evaluated for the 4% merit pay raises that were in the budgets in the years prior to 2009 would be the same mechanism that would be in place right now, contingent upon any adjustments or what have you that would be put in place by our new Director of Human Resources, Angelita Jackson.
Okay. So I need to get with Angelita to see why exactly if those employees over there are not being evaluated.
Because all the employees should be
They're supposed to be
evaluated.
evaluated.
No, I'm not going to respond to information that I cannot agree with or confirm. I do know that merit pay increases were in the budget up until 2009. There had to be some means and mechanism by which those were determined.
Okay. Well, I mean, I've
So
spoke with them.
whatever
and
means and mechanism they were
7
determined
years.
by at that point would probably be the first place we would go back and look to going forward. If there's some adjustment that we need to have in place in order to facilitate that, then we would certainly do so.
And that's the key, Mayor. What we've done, I got with Ms. Jackson, found out how it worked before. And I appreciate even, I've heard from department heads, some of the issues that went on with how merit raises were done in the past. So assuming the legislation goes forward and the council approves that, one of the first things we'll do is sit down and evaluate how that needs to go forward. I understand there are people who haven't gotten evaluations, people who gotten bad evaluations, and our assumption is everything will start from that point going forward. And as the mayor said, whatever adjustment we need to make in that process, we'll make. Otherwise, you're right, it makes no sense, it's not fair to the employees, and you're gonna leave out a significant number. That's not the intent. So we would certainly appreciate if that's going forward. I would expect that the union would want to sit down and have their input into how that's done, HR and everybody else in terms of how that's done. So we're looking at it as a forward-moving project. If the council approves the money, we can't explain what happened in the past. All we can do is try and fix it and go forward. But the intention is to have a program that all employees can benefit from.
Okay.
And Mr. Sibley, shouldn't it be established, and I say this to you too, Councilman Shine, based on your, your work experience with the school system, every employee should be evaluated.
On the anniversary day, so.
Yeah, I mean,
Those are the
I've
kind of
never
things
heard
we
of you
check
not
to make
evaluating, not having an evaluation for an employee. So I think that needs to be established that every employee should be evaluated.
Especially if we're going to tie the program to that.
Yeah.
We have to do that.
So that needs to be established. You might want to.
It also needs to be addressed because it's not taking place in sanitation.
All right.
Well, the one thing I'm assured of is that we do not want to disincentivize our hard-working, conscientious employees by providing to those who are not the same pay raise that those folks who are, in fact, meeting expectations, doing a great job, and being the kinds of employees that I know this council and the citizens of the city of Shreveport would expect us to have. You don't put those folks on the same footing as folks who don't meet those expectations.
No, but if you're going to evaluate employees, they need to be evaluated. You just don't evaluate one department and leave the other one out. That's not being fair. If a system is in place to evaluate every employee, then every employee, no matter what department they're in, should be evaluated. That's basically what I'm saying.
It's like a report
The very
card.
basis of a merit-based pay increase means that you have some basis of evaluating and making those determinations.
I'll get with Angelita and we'll discuss it further.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right, Reverend Calvin Austin. Yes.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Wow,
Mayor,
Calvin.
Councilman Shine, and the council. Before I start, Brother Muhammad made a statement in regards to those who are in need. Councilman Jenkins made a statement some weeks ago about a need that he would adhere to. So what's the lady name on Milam Street?
Rosie?
Miss Rosie?
Miss Rosie, okay, thank you very much.
I couldn't ever forget because my name is Rose. We shared that,
Okay,
that's something we have in common.
That's a good thing to share.
Yeah,
I stand before you today to speak in regards to the PSD 130006 in regards to the property located at 1220 North Hearn Avenue, which was formerly the Patterson Funeral Home. I'm standing here in support of Mrs. Nelson in regards to that property. There is adjacent of that property following the unknown fire, a state room.
For interrupting, but is that a property standards? I believe that's
and
a
it's
property
on the
standards.
agenda too.
Today.
It's on the agenda.
It's on 206, it's
Did you wanna
resolution
hear it now?
206.
Well, yeah, right, I'm about to ask you, do you want to talk now, or do you want to wait until the subject comes up?
You might want to, you gonna stay till the end, or you want to do it now? And
I think I need to do it now.
You gotta start.
One reason I want to do it now, I'm gonna have to be out of town tomorrow.
Okay.
For a meeting with our Lieutenant Governor and Attorney General in Monroe.
Okay.
In regards to something we want to do here in Shreveport for our youth. So I need to say this today.
Okay.
So it can be in the record on your decision making tomorrow. On that property was a business.
Kevin, we're gonna make that decision today.
It comes up later today.
It comes up later today. But now, if you want to speak now, you can. You might be a little bit more convincing if you speak
Tomorrow?
No, when the subject comes up shortly.
Okay, I'll wait.
Okay.
I'll wait.
Okay.
I'll wait. Thank y'all.
I'm trying to hook you up there.
Yeah. You know, you got a good friend up here. Oh, all right.
I hope everybody up there is my
Right. Don't be like Brother Muhammad. Now make some friends and then then you lose them. Yeah. Did Mr. Sweeney ever come back?
He heard you were after him, mate.
Oh no, it's Dale after him, man. It's not me. Okay. Do we have any legislation to add? I think we kind of passed that, but.
Now that we're aware of, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, that's fine. I forgot to ask you. Confirmation, Mr. Sibley, we don't have any.
We have none, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, now, Mr. Sibley, we're gonna turn it all over to you.
There are no items under Section 8 consent agenda legislation. Under Section 9 regular agenda legislation, these are resolutions on second reading and final passage.
Dale, let me say, just 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Is this Mr. Sanders? We didn't forget about you. We really haven't gotten to you yet.
These are resolutions on second reading, final passage, or which will require only one reading. Number 188 approves the 2015 Downtown Development Authority Program of Work.
Any questions? Not, move on.
Number 189 ratifies the execution of a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Louisiana Film Prize LLC.
Any comments? Let's move on.
Resolution 190 authorizes the mayor to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Shreveport Metropolitan Ballet.
Any comments? Let's move.
191 authorizes the mayor to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Shreveport Opera.
Any comments? All right, let's move.
192 authorizes the mayor to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Shreveport Symphony Orchestra.
Any comments? If not, let's move.
193 authorizes the purchasing agent to dispose by public auction of surplus vehicles, items, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Any comments? If not, let's move.
194 authorizes the mayor to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Red River Desk and Derrick Club of Shreveport.
Any comments? If not, let's move.
195 authorizes the submission of the 2015 Annual Action Plan to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. Mr. Chairman, tomorrow we will ask that this matter be tabled. According to Ms. Moore, under the guidelines, the federal government would like for the budget to be approved first, then the plan submitted.
Okay.
Number 196, amends the cooperative endeavor agreement with the Catawba Parish Port Commission relative to providing water and sewage to the Port of Shreveport-Bossier.
Any comments? If not, let's move.
Number 197, repeals resolution number 168 of 2014, authorize the employment of special legal counsel to provide legal advice, counsel, and representation to the city of Shreveport, ratifying all work previously performed, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Any comments? Let's move.
Number 198, authorizes the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Independence Bowl Foundation.
Any comments? Let's move.
Resolution 201 is a resolution of the city of Shreveport approving the fees of professionals in conjunction with the issuance of not exceeding $75 million water and sewer revenue bonds in one or more series for the purpose of financing the cost of acquisition and construction of improvements, extensions, and replacements to the water and sewer utility system of the city, and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
Any comments? Not, let's move.
Resolution 202 is a resolution approving the fees of professionals in conjunction with the issuance of not exceeding $76,700,000 water and sewer revenue refunding bonds in one or more series for the purpose of refunding certain existing indebtedness of the water and sewer utility system of the city of Shreveport.
Any comments? If not, let's move.
Resolution 203 declares the city's interest in certain adjudicated properties as surplus regarding districts D and F.
Let's move.
Resolution 204 accepts dedication for water and sewer easements in Fox Ridge Townhouse subdivision.
Wrong. All right, let's move.
205 accepts dedication of the Coltrane Way and Artist Taylor Drive in Domino Commercial Subdivision and otherwise provides with respect thereto.
Any comments? If not, let's move.
Resolution 206 suspends certain provisions of Chapter 42 of the Code of Ordinance relative to solicitation from occupants of motor vehicles to allow the Northwest Louisiana chapter of the Sickle Cell Disease Association of America, Incorporated, to conduct the 37th annual Radiothon Can Shake fundraiser at certain designated intersections on Saturday, November 15, 2014.
Quick, is there a document associated with that?
I've drafted it.
Okay, copy.
I don't see it linked here on the.
Okay.
The answer is no.
Well, it's not complete.
I haven't drafted it yet.
It's not complete.
Got it. If there was one, I'd like to see it. If there, I can't ask for something I didn't have. That's all right.
You'll get it.
We will email it to everybody tomorrow.
It's all right.
Proceed, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
207 declares the intention of the city of Shreveport to proceed with the issuance of not to exceed $65 million street improvement bonds in one or more series for the purpose of financing the cost of constructing, paving, and improving public streets in the city, including utilities relocation and incidental sewer and drainage work required thereby, make an application to the Louisiana State Bond Commission for approval of such bonds, and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
Okay. Yes.
We may sound like a broken record, but we think it's a refrain that the citizens of the city of Shreveport certainly hope that those of us who are down here would have an ear for and pay some attention to, and that is doing something substantial about repairing and upgrading the streets of the city of Shreveport. We tried a $100 million approach on several occasions. We came back recently with a compromise downward of $75 million. Now we're going to adjust and trim our sails just a bit once more and come in with a suggested number of up to $65 million. This is still a fraction of the overall amount that's needed, but it does represent a substantial start towards what I believe all of the folks that we collectively represent understand and believe to be a huge problem for the city of Shreveport, and that is the shape and the condition and the status of our street infrastructure. Resolution 207, again, it does not use the entirety of our revenue stream. It uses a portion of it but it would give us the assurance going forward that that portion would be used towards paying for up to $65 million worth of street improvements across the city of Shreveport. The suggested ratio for that would be 40% of those dollars being directed towards our arterials, with 30% being directed towards our collectors, and the other 30% being directed towards our neighborhood streets. As Sammy sent me a tweet last week and reminded me that the city of Shreveport streets won't fix themselves. He says that if he ever sees that, the good Lord better watch out, because he's running the other way. So the streets are not going to fix themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be up to us. And 207 attempts to give us a chance to be able to do that, and I hope it meets your favorable passage.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, council members.
Thank you. And Dale, before we go on.
Yes, sir.
You wouldn't be angry with me if I stop and call
I know
Mr.
you've been
Sweeney
looking for
up, would
Mr.
you?
Sweeney. He's here.
Yeah, please. Please.
Oh, one sec. Those percentages, they're not in the document though, right?
What's that?
Percentages of feeders, collectors, et cetera, in
30,
residential.
30, 40.
The 40, 30, 30?
40, 30, 30.
No, that's the proposed. Now, we would welcome that specific amendment language if that would make you more comfortable.
No, I just,
But that-
no, I want to make sure I had it correct. So
Right.
I'd like to
40%,
I'd like to have it in there.
40% for the arterials,
okay?
30%, and Robert and Stan and Terry and Julie, please pay attention. So 40%, as staff has recommended, 40% towards the arterials, 30% towards collectors, and 30% directed towards neighborhood streets.
Okay, thank you.
And Ms. Webb, we would welcome that amendment.
Okay.
Julie and Terry, does that give us do you all have the ability to be able to start working on something that could be available for tomorrow?
No, I don't necessarily, you gave me what I needed. I didn't have pen in hand when you were giving me some figures, so that's why I was, just want to make sure I got it. Thank you.
Mr. Sweeney, I'm sorry, report on the master plan, do you
Yes,
have?
absolutely.
Please.
I'd love to let you know that we're making progress on the Unified Development Code, which is one of the main implementation tools for the master plan. We have gathered comments from all of the departments of the city of Shreveport, as well as comments from the parish, and we will be proceeding to meeting with our consultants, Camiros, on November the 18th to the 20th. They will be arriving here in town for us to have a series of meetings with them and to highlight the issues and concerns and the things that need to be worked on as they work forward to developing as a second draft of the UDC. This is an evolving process that requires a lot of input, and as you well know, we will be going out to the public after the first of the year to get input from the public, from the development community, in order to develop something that is user-friendly and effective in implementing the UDC. Another thing I'd like to bring to your attention that I think really has a direct impact on the master plan is what will be coming before you on November the 25th in your council meeting is an ordinance amendment creating a planned unit development tool for all of our zoning districts, in particular commercial. That is not something we've had heretofore, and it's going to be a very effective tool in helping to implement the master plan, because it will give you, the city council, the ability to make some decisions and to be able to move forward with development that will actually improve the quality of life here in the city. And I feel very encouraged that that will be before you on the 25th. It will be presented to the MPC on the 5th of November with hopefully with a recommendation for approval. Any other questions you might have?
Any questions? Mr. Sweeney, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Chairman?
Yes.
I want to thank Mr. Sweeney and Stephen Jean and the rest of the staff for putting in yeoman's work and helping to get that planned unit development legislation pushed forward, and certainly want to thank Councilman Corbin for accepting the challenge and taking on the lead of authoring that and giving us yet another tool in our arsenal to help facilitate development in Shreveport.
All right, thank you. Okay, Dale.
We're in section B, Mr. Chairman, introduction of resolutions not to be adopted prior to November 11, 2014. Resolution 208, state the city of Shreveport's intention to redirect $2.1 million of bond proceeds from proposition number 3 of the 2011 bond election intended for the Murphy Street Viaduct to other street and drainage projects within the city. There was a public hearing to be held on November 11, 2014.
Any background needed on that, Councilmember?
Okay.
Resolution 209 ratifies the use of certain equipment by Mount Olive Baptist Church.
Any questions?
Section C is introduction of ordinances not to be adopted prior to November 11, 2014. Ordinance 132 amends the 2014 capital improvements budget. This is regarding buildings and recreation, and this is regarding these projects in the second bond sale. Ordinance 133 amends the 2014 capital improvements budget. This is 18 existing projects, 6 new projects. Again, this is streets, water and sewer engineering, second bond sale from 2011 bond. Ordinance 134 amends
Can I ask
I'm sorry.
just one question? So, does 132 and 133 encapsulate all of the projects, or is 132 Proposition 1 and 133 Proposition 2, and then there should be a 130-something later on that is Proposition 3, or are they just all?
If I'm not mistaken, correct me, Robert, this covers all of the 2011 bond projects. Exactly.
Okay,
So they all should be
the
covered.
question that I was like,
Robert, get that in the record for us, please, if you don't mind.
you got the reason why I was asking the question. I was expecting three of those,
rather
one
than
for each proposition, but I probably could have done some. But it does say Proposition 1 and 3 on the other one, so.
Yes, sir. On ordinance number 132 includes the funding set forth in Proposition number 2 of the second bond sale, and ordinance number 133 incorporates Proposition 1 and Proposition 3 of the bond sale.
So in theory, every bond project that we had, and I don't mean when additional funds have now become available, minus those, but then this will be allocating money from that bond sale to every one of those projects that was listed in the original bond proposal, correct?
That is correct.
There's not any outstanding ones still to be?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. That answers the question.
Ordinance 134 amends section 58-30 of the Code of Ordinances. This matters in conjunction with a settlement proposal that I believe Ms. Scott has submitted information to the council on. Ordinance 135 is zoning matters C-6414. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 106 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Shreveport zoning ordinance by rezoning property located on the south side of West 79th Street, 300 feet east of Linwood Avenue, Shreveport, Kettle Parish, Louisiana. Changed from R1D, Urban One Family Residence District, to B1, Buffer Business District with MPC and Planned Building Group approval.
Okay, let's move on.
Ordinance 136 is zoning matter C-7814. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 106 of the Code of Ordinances by rezoning property located on the north side of West College, 370 feet west of Lakeshore Drive, changed from R1D, Urban One Family Residence District, to B3, Community Business District.
Mr. Samuel Jenkins is not here, so we'll have to discuss that on tomorrow. All right, let's move on, Dan.
Ordinance 137 is zoning appeals, C-7214. It amends Chapter 106 of the Code of Ordinances by rezoning property located on the southeast corner of Broadway and Crosby and the north side of Crosby, 60 feet east of Broadway, Shreveport, Kettle Parish, Louisiana, from R1H, Urban One Family Residence District, to B1, Buffer Business District, and B2, Neighborhood Business District.
Any questions? If not, let's move on, Mr. Sibley.
Section D is ordinances on second reading and final passage. Ordinance 98 authorizes the city to close and restrict vehicular access to Lake Street from Commerce Street to Skyport Center. Otherwise provides with respect thereto. There is a public hearing that was previously postponed to be held on this matter on tomorrow.
Question.
Yeah.
Is the intention to vote on that tomorrow?
I don't feel prepared to move
Okay.
forward on it.
Just asking, so, I mean,
Again, Councilman, we're just trying to problem solve here. And every time we know we shift a piece, it ends up going somebody else's ox. So, no, we know that this is a very challenging issue. We've tasked staff with coming up with some suggestions to get us there. This was the one that represents the least amount of potential expense to us as public government. I guess the real question is whether or not you believe that there is a problem here to be solved. If there's a problem here to be solved, then there's something that has to be done. If there's not a problem here to be solved, then this is all just an exercise in futility at this point. But I tend to believe that based upon how the downtown hotel market has shifted, where you now have the Shreveport Hilton and other properties at the boardwalk and other places around the city as a whole, we've got some challenged properties there at the old Holiday Inn, and by extension, but not as directly, with the Chateau, And so we want to try and figure out how to make that situation better. This was the one particular approach that ends up being the least expensive from a public standpoint of all those propositions. If the intention is to, maintain the status quo and let the horns keep blowing and let those property owners do the best they can, then, we can ultimately end up doing nothing and see where that ends up leading us with regard to those properties. I have heard some complaints on a constant basis about the shifting of the plastic signs and other things and what have you that are down there. This is one that some folks would even consider a stretch to me, because I know it's folks like my good friend there who are regular visitors of the location. There's some pretty highbrow lunches that go on at one of these locations on a regular basis.
where the decisions are made, and those are those backroom deals that you told me about in
That's
earlier years.
The very epicenter of where some of the power emanates from in this city.
That's exactly right. But the only thing about it,
that I'm not privy to. So
yeah, there are a lot of things going at Brother Austin's church that we're not privy to. That's just the way it falls. But I don't ever hear no trains, Jeff. Trains doesn't disturb our lunches down there now. I will have to admit that I'm not down there at night. I'm over at 4532 Alton Street. But I'm not down today, Jeff. The train doesn't bother my appetite at all.
I don't hear a train.
No, I just wanted, let me make sure though. I was just wondering if there's some kind of like deadline or some deal.
No.
Alvin,
I think from the.
before you go, let me see.
I think from the,
Not now,
just to
not
clarify
now,
a little
not
bit.
now, not now.
I think from the hotel owner's perspective, and Robert, correct me, but the last communication we had, he's feeling a bit of pressure in dealing with the flag operator, dealing with Holiday Inn Corporation, and want to move as quickly as possible. But again, as the mayor pointed out, we're simply trying to find a way to present the situation, offer a solution. Just to clarify additionally, the major issue with what's going on is timing. The owner, as well as the state and others, can help supplement the funding, but their process, as Robert pointed out, takes a rather long time to get it done. So even if we had all the money right now, their process still
But
is going to
that's
take
the 2-year deal for the
the
traffic.
railroad, the feds, and the state to do all their stuff to figure out how do we put signals there, what's the impact, because if you realize in downtown there are 3 or 4 crossings that are within a pretty short distance with each other, so all that stuff has to be evaluated. And Robert, if I misspoke, come forward and clarify that, please.
Well, I mean, and I hate to go back, but so then my question is, I guess we can't initiate any of those processes until we do this?
No, sir, that's not correct. Those processes have been initiated. This was developed as an interim move pending that 2 or 3 year window that they outlined to us it takes to finalize that decision on putting those signals in.
And which I'm assuming in the meantime also gives the owner the ability to be able to represent back to his,
exactly,
to the Holiday Inn folks that we have addressed this problem. We no longer have the 4, 5, and 6 o'clock in the morning horn blowings that come from the trains crossing. Hence, give us a chance to get our brand back.
And Robert, if we misspoke on any of that, please.
No, sir, that is correct. We have already begun the initiation of the process. We've done our traffic counts, and we've gotten the inventory diagnostic reviewed completed by the DOTD. These two items are necessary to submit to the Federal Highway Administration for this request.
Okay. But that's not on this, I mean, it's on its timeline, but what we do, I understand.
Just an interim step.
Just step, I got it.
And
Okay.
it's our
So that's why I was
understanding
getting a little
that,
confused.
it's our understanding the owner will be here tomorrow, as the mayor said, to speak to his perspective on it, which we're trying to represent, but obviously he's the best person to speak to
Okay,
that.
thank you.
Thanks, Robert.
Okay,
Proceed, Mr. Chairman.
please.
Ordinance 108 amends and replaces ordinance number 69 of 1988 to change section 1 of this ordinance from a stop intersection to a four-way stop intersection and to otherwise provide with respect thereto, and this is regarding East Preston and Knight Street.
Okay, continue, please.
Ordinance 109 is an ordinance to amend and reenact certain sections of Chapter 94 of the Code of Ordinances relative to utilities. And I believe this is one, Councilman Everson, we're going to submit through Infrastructure Committee before vote on that one.
Okay.
Ordinance 110 amends the 2014 capital improvements budget. This is regarding the Sportran budget adjustments. Ordinance 111 amends the 2014 capital improvements budget. This is the runway rehab project at the airport. And Ordinance 112 closes and abandons the west portion of View Street between Baker Street and Douglas Street in the W.R. Carter subdivision in Section 37, Township 18, Range 14 West. Otherwise provides with respect thereto. And Mr. Chairman, that concludes all the scheduled legislation.
Okay, Mr. Thompson? Gooby?
I don't know of any matters to be removed from the table, Mr. Shine.
Do we have any council member that would like to remove anything from the table that you did not discuss with Mr. Thompson? All right,
I think we're ready for property standards appeals.
I think we are too. Where's Mr. Green? Mr. Green?
We'll grab him once he stepped out back.
I think you're telling me to go.
Should we take up Calvin's, whichever one Calvin's here for, since he's,
Yeah,
just might as well, he's sitting here, why don't we start?
okay.
Well, Mr. Green,
It's coming up now, sir.
I think Calvin is here.
Which one he's here for, bro?
Mr. Green, we don't generally do this, but we want to honor the minister that we have right there, Reverend Calvin Austin. Now, what I was about to say is, why don't, we're going to look at what he wants to speak on first.
Okay, that's number 2.
That's number 2?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hey, Calvin, you see
Case
how
number
much?
2? No, it's not case number 2.
What?
It's not case number 2.
What is it?
Here's the 130006.
6.
Okay.
I think it's
Number
20.
Calvin, you see how much influence you got down here, huh? We're gonna,
Point is, oh my goodness.
we're gonna bring you up first.
Okay, this is 1220 North Hearn Avenue. This case was basically, it's been going on for about 2 years, actually. This is the Patterson Funeral Home building. It's pretty much burned, except for the,
Hold on just a minute. Miss Nelson, would you come around while we can see you? Okay. That's fine. Go ahead on.
okay. And pretty much we have, Ms. Nelson, she has contacted the office, but we're pretty much wanting to demolish the structure.
Could I say something, Councilman?
Sure.
This has been an ongoing issue, as he said, for what, about a couple of years or so, almost 3 years.
Yes, ma'am.
And actually, I've met with Debbie Martin, Bruce Roberts, and some other residents in the Cherokee Highland Park neighborhood regarding what they would call it an eyesore. And, of course, as the owner, it's my understanding, in the month of August, finally, I mean, it went through a process. One process to the other, trying to identify the actual owner, and at the end of the day, in identifying the actual owner, that was done through litigation. In the month of August, there was an auction
if you refer to the record, if you look at the record here, August of, July, there was an auction done. And of course, Debbie Martin and Bruce Roberts was fully aware of this because it was them that kept me abreast up to date. So in the month of July, the actual owner actually purchased this property. And if you don't mind, if I would share the amount, I mean, I was informed that this property, she purchased this property back for $17,000. And of course, right after the purchase, it appears that Property Standards sent her, and Mr. Green, you correct me if I'm wrong, Property Standards sent her a 10-day notice after the purchase to demolish. Now, based on the communication that I've had with her at one of the Cherokee Highland Park Association meetings and today, she has actually contacted the company that actually does demolitions for the city of Shreveport. Now, based on what Mr. Green is bringing before us today, they want to demolish the entire structure for $13,000. According to, give me your name again. Rosalind, right. Yeah, which comes from Rose, okay. According to Rosalind, she has actually contacted the company and they're willing to demolish the part. If you look at the illustrations here, all of the funeral home was not burned. If you look at the very back section, it's still pretty stable on a concrete slab. The bricks are there. Some of the windows and doors are even there. What she has agreed to do after this meeting today, in the presence of Mr. Green, is to actually within the next 10 days pay $9,000 to the company that was going to do the entire demolition for $13,000. Within the next 10 days, she was going to pay $9,000 to demolish the portion of the funeral home that's completely burned. And the part that's not burned, she has agreed within the next 90 or 120 days leading up to the spring to start reconstruction.
I think it's a great idea.
I'm going to ask that if somebody would give me a second to allow her to do that.
30 days.
Based on, and let it go into the record now, 10 days after today, demolition for the part that's burned, totally burned. And once the demolition is complete, then within 120 days, let's say 30 to 90, 120 days, the construction will start on the part that wasn't burned.
We definitely need a provision in there about securing the property. Somewhere in that part of the debate, you got to secure all those windows and all the rest of it.
So that means you're going to board them up?
Board it up.
Okay.
What's the
So if I could-
timeline?
Looking into that as well.
What's the timeline for that?
10 days to demolish the part that's totally burned from today. So B, you want to give us that date?
No, that's good. And then
That's
when
good?
does the property get secured, in that same 10 days?
Well, yeah, that's,
Right.
you're talking about plywood.
Because we've already been kind of working on getting it secured. So once it's demolished, we will board up the remaining structure and proceed from there.
You want her to board up
Yeah.
during the demolition?
Well, no, I mean,
Not
if
the
she can
board
do it
up.
all, I
She
mean,
can do the
it's
board.
hard to
That's-
tell in these pictures of when you see the open doors and windows, if that's.
Rosalind, it's not that expensive to board it up.
No.
Yeah, so you could board it up, if you pay $9,000 to board it up, certainly, you could pay $400 or $500, I mean, I'm sorry, $9,000 to demolish it. You could come up with $300 or $400 to secure it. I mean, that's probably about what it would cost you, based on what I'm looking at here.
Right. I was just really thinking about where they're gonna tear it down at. I won't be, I'll come in after the demolition and board up that.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Wall.
Right. Why don't you do that? Wait until they tear it down and then come in.
Well, there are some parts that she could secure, you know, the parts that you can actually get to on the end, very end.
just to show that you're making an effort, you know. And then once the demolition is completed, then you'll secure the other portion of it.
We have a motion on the floor.
Can I ask what
Yes.
Mr. Green thinks about this? So, does this seem like a good approach to you, Mr. Green? Or not really, or?
November 24th is your next council date. By then, everything should be demolished, cleared off, and secured. And you have a set date to meet back here.
So it seems reasonable to you? Or it seems like a good idea to you?
November 24th.
Okay,
That's a good date.
okay.
Now,
Calvin,
I'm
speak.
gonna call Calvin up. Calvin, when I get it, I'm gonna carry the motion through till I say questions, and then I think we got the president of the neighborhood association, Mr. Randy Johnson, who's a good friend of the mayor, and we're gonna ask him to come up and say a word. Okay, it's been moved and second.
I'm sorry, go ahead. It's
Been moved by Councilman Rose McCullough, second by the chair.
Thank you.
All right, Reverend.
They'll stay right here.
Stand right there.
I don't like the term that was stated, and I need to get this out. There's a unique story, unknownness about that location, but there's a historical preference to that location.
That was a
It may be an eyesore to some people, but it was purchased because Miss Patterson Nelson had the opportunity to get back her life heritage. Her father started that business there, and you heard them make their plea in regards to what they want to do, how they want to do it. But I hope that you would not just put them into a parameter time frame, because there's also the unknowns could happen. That may not be the 10-day window, maybe a 15-day window. But I know it's going to be done because she has burnt my ear to try to help her get this off. But I hope that you would do it expeditiously, give her enough time. I've seen the plans, what she wants to do. As Ms. McCullough said, there is to the southwest of the burnt structure is where it used to be the prep room where they would prepare the bodies. And there was also the stateroom where people's families could go and view. That wasn't hurt. That's a good thing. That is salvageable. That's savable. Where the chapel and the office is what they're going to tear down. I believe that she has in the plan an assessment to be done to see how structural or sound that left there, plus what she wants to put there. When it's finished, it's going to be a pretty sight for the North Hearn Inn. But give her that opportunity to do what she wants to do for that area. And I believe the people in the area will be appreciative once it is done.
Mr. Johnson, you want to come forward and say a word or two?
Randy Johnson, I'm at 409 Brookfire Drive in Shreveport, Louisiana, president of Cherokee Island Park Neighborhood Association Incorporated. The thing in a nutshell, Mr. Chairman, is that it's been an eyesore for 2.5 years or better. We definitely want it down, the residents in that community, but they've been screaming, I've been screaming, everybody's been screaming. At the same time, we want a viable solution to this thing. I think I just came up with something. If she's agreeing to get the demolition torn down, get it torn down just as described, I don't see a problem with that. And the only thing I ask you all to look at is that if something does occur out of the ordinary, which delays or that process.
Will give us some extra time.
You will work with her. That's what I want to do.
We will
Now,
do that.
Because, and as far as the other part, boarding it up and stuff, just like you said, time frame, tear that part down, then board it up and secure it. Because you can't secure it, it don't make sense to start securing it when you got a big gaping hole, you know, right there. So what you all just said, man, it's, in a nutshell, that's the best solution, you know, and I'm all for her doing what she need to do, and I'm all for her getting a fair chance at it. Okay, that's all I have to say. And we want it down, and I think y'all have solved it. What do you think, Mr. Patterson?
And Mr. Johnson.
Oh, without a doubt. You know, she just missed it. You know what? That was our first neighborhood association meeting we had back in what, it was about 19th?
August.
Yeah, there you go. But anyway, that was our first, and we want them to rebuild because it's an asset to our community. You know, it's going to beautify and make our property value go up. You know, it's going to be a fairly new construction, and it's going to make our property value go up. So we're wholehearted for it being returned there. So that's all I have to say about that.
And Mr. Johnson, you do an excellent job over there with the neighborhood. I can see the improvement in the upswing in it since you've been president of that neighborhood association. And because I knew her dad for 60 years and even knew her grandmother. Her grandmother used to come to Grambling and go to school during the summertime, and she would stay with us. That was her dad's mother. And Roz was a little girl in maybe junior high school, but I helped her dad get that zoning. That was a church. I helped him get that zoning, so I was very proud of the work that they did, and they were good business people. So, Roz, I don't think we have any problem. I think.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
Could we clarify the motion? First, was part of the motion a date by which reconstruction should begin? And then the other thing I'm not clear on is is the council going to continue to, postpone, give subsequent dates and keep track of the reconstruction?
Rose, you want to?
Well, I know we're going to start with the 10-day demolition. We know that she needs to demolish the ruined part within 10 days. Once that's
come back by a certain council meeting date, and
November 4th, I think that's what you stated, Mr. Green. 24th, yeah.
So, but reconstruction does not have to begin by the 24th. You
No.
would set a date for that.
Within 30 to 90 days, I think that's what we really agreed on.
But
You would set that.
When it's torn down, start you secure it. When it's torn down, secure it.
Right.
That's simple. Okay? 10
And you
days,
would
torn
set a
down,
date for
secure it.
reconstruction, a
Right,
time period.
from that time,
At that point.
be 90 to 120 days. They would start.
And if we have a hurricane and it starts raining, we can't do it in a demolition, then we will consider giving her.
Oh, sure,
Yeah, okay.
we're gonna work with
That's
you.
all it is.
We're gonna work with you.
Okay.
You got it, Ms. Glass? Is that what you,
Thank
is that, are you
I think
clear about?
we're in
Right.
agreement.
If not, just give me a call.
All right.
Well, we kind of wanted to do it before
Right, you
we
need the
made
motion.
it. Yeah, right.
Oh, within the motion,
right.
she wants it.
Yeah, right, it's in the motion. So after November 24th, she would have from 90 to 120 days.
Well, and I guess that's 90 to 120 days.
Construction.
She would not have to
Construction.
start until the end of
Yeah.
90 days?
Yes. She would either start if she cannot start at the end of 90 days, then she'll come back and say, well, I need the whole 120 days.
So that was what I was trying to clarify.
Right.
You'll keep the case on your agenda and she'll come back and
Yes.
report back to you?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. We want to make, all right. Let's vote yea or nay. Legislation passes with a 6-0 vote, one out of the chamber. So, Raj, you got your 10 days to demolish. Then you'll have your 90 to 120 days to start some kind of construction. If you're not able to start at the 90 days, come back and you get the whole 120 days. Thank you. And
Thank you.
Randy, thank you.
Y'all have a lovely, lovely, lovely day. Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I think it would be less than appropriate for us to
Calvin,
allow
thank you.
Mrs. Nelson to leave the chambers without acknowledging the fact that she is a Shreveport Fire Department widow. And so her husband, Frankie, served decades with distinction, but we know that none of our first responders ever serve alone, that she was a part of the family that supported and loved him. Has a group of outstanding sons as well, who are carrying on his name and legacy. So thank you for being here, and wish you the best of luck in this new effort, and commend you, Councilwoman McCullough, for demonstrating the wisdom of Solomon and helping to resolve this challenge.
Wait. Now, Mr. Mayor, you're very poetic. I knew Frankie when he was in grade school back in Arcadia, Louisiana. And I believe he used to go to the Methodist Church, St. Duty.
In Arcadia?
That was under the pastures of Oliver, of my daddy. Back in the good old days.
As well as my brother,
those
Quinn.
wagon wheel cookies for a nickel.
Pastor St. Duty, while he was a student at Grambling.
Right.
You know, 15, 20 years ago kind of things that we're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Thank y'all. Yes.
Just a minute. Let me see if I understand what y'all just voted on, to make sure I got the understanding.
Okay.
You're giving us a 10-day window to tear it down?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm here 24th, somewhere in there?
November 24th.
Right.
That's after the demolition.
Here on the 24th,
Fourth.
and by the November 24th, I need to have,
That building torn down?
I
Okay.
need to have it,
Done.
that part of it that I want demolished, and
Right.
have it boarded up.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
I don't want to leave going east and knowing that y'all did not say what y'all said.
All right, Calvin, that's okay. All
Thank you,
right.
Rosalind.
Okay. Who do we have next?
Okay, the next one is 3038 Yorktown. This case was started March 26, 2014. Seals on the south side, north side still have not been replaced or repaired. Structure still needs to be painted. No changes have been made since the property was first initialized, and we're asking that you proceed with
That's
the
in Ms. McCullough's district.
Say that again now.
Reverend, you
'cause I
want to
was
come around?
3038 Yorktown.
Yorktown?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Now, wait a minute.
okay, this was the lady that was supposed to,
I'm sorry, right, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not.
so what are you recommending?
That we demolish the structure.
Okay, so move to demolish.
Is she here?
Okay, now, hold on.
Is she here?
No,
Rose, is she
you
here?
remember she came to the last meeting.
Okay, I didn't want to overlook her if she was here.
So that's still the, okay, because this is this woman that sent us this, I mean,
Rose.
The lady
Yeah,
that,
communicated.
that
This is
lives
woman,
on,
right, that sent
yeah, it
these
was
emails, right?
3038. She came down and she wanted to sell the property, I believe, right?
She wanted time to sell it the last
And
two
then
times.
she didn't sell the property.
Right.
So we gave her time to go and sell the property.
Right,
And then she came back and said she wanted to renovate the property.
right.
Well, I explained to her that that wasn't the agreement when we had our most recent meeting, so.
Right.
Okay, that's a motion. Jeff, is that a
Motion to
second by
demolish.
you?
It's in your email now.
Not on this case. You can say one on your case.
What I like to say,
Huh?
if you don't mind listening 1 minute, it's on about this case.
Oh, okay. Okay, yes, it's about this
The
case.
lady, I told her she need to call the lady, she's supposed to have the property sold. And she's supposed to have got in touch with Mrs., you know, the lady that you taking her place.
Ms. Farnell.
Yes, yes, sir. Uh-huh, she's supposed to have it sold. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. She's supposed
You
to have
didn't
it sold.
tell me she had sold the property and anything.
Well, she's supposed to have it sold. And you got her number, right?
No, I don't have, she doesn't contact me at all. She doesn't communicate with me, the owner. She doesn't contact me at all. She only communicates with property standards.
Okay, well, y'all have been talking. 'Cause
I called her to let her know that I couldn't help
I'm just telling you, Rose, you know, the lady's old. She said she had the property stolen. The lady's supposed to be gonna come there and they're gonna demolish it and they're gonna put a trailer there. Cause she's supposed to let me get some books out the house tomorrow. Cause I was trying to help her sell it.
Okay.
So she has sold the house?
Supposedly. She's supposedly got in touch with Mrs. Fournier. I said, it's best to call Mrs. Fournier to make sure that you don't have to come down to the.
Okay, well,
Well,
did she say that?
Ms. Farnell said that we're not litigating anything on this right here. We want the demolition.
Okay. I move to demolish.
Okay. It's been moved by Councilwoman McCullough. I haven't heard a second on this yet.
Unless you want to postpone and let her.
I'm happy to second it. I'm happy to second it. If
Sold
Rose
the
has
house,
got the
then
deal.
we got to demolish the house
Okay.
because that was the agreement, if it's not sold.
Okay, it's been seconded by Councilman Mike Carter.
I mean,
It is sold.
Listen, my point is,
Yes, it is. I don't know how that would work.
Julie, what if we uphold property standards and vote to demolish, and the owner comes back and has a completed sale document dated prior to today?
The way the ordinance is written, we're supposed to file a notice in the courthouse so that that's something that a buyer would see if they check the title.
Right.
I'm not sure that if that is what we do.
Right.
So,
okay.
so they should have notice of it.
Okay.
And
After we vote to.
And if there was a new buyer, would that just start this process all over again with a new owner?
I think they buy it, because we
Subject to-
file that in the
Subject to.
courthouse, they buy it subject to the
Right.
process.
Okay.
So hold up just a minute. So then we don't know if she's actually sold the property.
No.
So then maybe we need to postpone it until the next meeting.
No.
So that we can find out if it's been sold, because Mr. Francis is saying that it's sold. And there's,
That's what the lady told me, cause I was gonna tell her to donate it to me, and if y'all give me time to fix it up, then I would try to get it fixed up. But I was gonna have to have some time.
Okay, well, let me say, but so Rose, in theory, in this, if you buy a piece of property and you check the liens, where you do that is in the courthouse, and there would be this document in there that says it's subject to being demolished by the city of Shreveport. So if that was something you didn't want to happen to your property, that would be the time where you would either choose not to buy it, or you'd say, okay, I understand, I'm buying it with the fact that the property's not going to be on there.
and that property standards wouldn't have had any way of any means of contact with the new owner.
It would be incumbent on the new owner.
It's not our responsibility, it's theirs.
It's their responsibility.
They would do it through the public record. Property standards would put it in the public record.
So we've done everything that we could do then. So I motion to demolish. Can I have a second?
You have my second.
All right. Wow.
I'm all about what's going on in District A. I like that place.
Democracy Act.
I'm telling you. And compromising. Yeah, we got to compromise.
She's Solomon. I don't know who I am because I'm
Yeah.
That was just the game he was talking about.
This is round 3 on this.
Yeah. All in favor, let's vote. All right. Legislation passes.
Mr. Corbin or by Mr. Jenkins?
All right. Our next case is
that was, do not deny.
2965.
Art, do not deny Mr. Jenkins the opportunity to vote with Ms. McCullough.
Need to be called an obstructionist.
There you go.
Willie Mays.
Our next case is 2965 Willie Mays Street. This is an inoperable vehicle that
That's
as of...
Reverend Francis. Right there. Reverend, come
Yes,
forward.
sir.
Let's see what you and Ms. McCullough gonna compromise on.
To the mayor,
I don't think I'm
To-
familiar with this one.
to the mayor and all the others there, but the lady's old, I just hate that, but so much for that. But I need till Friday. Yes, you can't give me the Friday, just give me tomorrow at 4 o'clock, because when I went in the car, they tell me that the motor's gone, and if the motor is gone, I know I can't find one with 5,000 miles on it. So I'm gonna just go on and take it and sell it to the dump, to the wrecking yard.
But just in case that he's wrong, if I have until Friday to lubricate it, because like I said, they got about 5,000 miles on it, and I don't think it's the motor gone. I could be wrong, because I just thought about it. If I didn't have no, if that Freon one in there, there's a possibility that it could be locked. The motor could be locked.
Nathaniel, it might not be. A few years back, I saw the old man running around town in an old Lincoln that really looked good. Mayor, how did that come out?
It's in my garage right now, Mr. Sherman.
You see that, Nathaniel?
Oh yeah, but like I say now, I'm not gonna try to find a motor. I'm just gonna go on and do away with it. If I can't get it to crank, y'all won't have to see me no more. Give me till Friday morning. If it ain't done by Friday morning, y'all can pick it up that afternoon if it's not out the way.
Well, let me ask you something. Now, the last meeting that we had, did we address this vehicle?
That's right.
And what did you say we were?
I told you I was working on it, and I worked on it, and it come up to be the motor, which is a major problem.
Oh, okay.
Just like y'all told the lady about that house.
So you need, so it sounds like you need 2 weeks then?
No, this Friday be fine. That's right, because I'm gonna move it.
I'm gonna move to give him 2 weeks, our next city council meeting.
Okay. And Rose, I might go by there if it's a classic.
It is a classic, and it's very nice on the inside.
Yeah.
Just like brand new. 5,000 miles.
Mr. Green, I might take you with me.
And I just had my son to paint the side of a car. He paints just like his daddy.
All right then, because I'm telling you now, you can paint.
I'm serious though. I'm serious about that.
I'm not campaigning for your business, Nathaniel, and I'm not stroking your ego. But you can paint.
Well, I asked the Lord before I start pastoring the church, I want to be one of the best painters in town.
And
one of the best.
And the Lord gave it to you.
Yes, sir.
So Dale, that 57 you got, he can take care of it for you. That 57 Chevy.
B, you got the date on that for us?
No, ma'am, I don't.
The next city
I'm
council.
sorry, I missed it. Did you
2 weeks,
repeat?
the next city council meeting.
November 10th.
Mr. Harris, that old truck that you got kind of beat up a little bit. If you need it fixed up, Nathaniel can do it.
Who did the
That
second?
you brought in from Kansas City. I know me and you was watching that baseball game last night, huh?
Give me a second, Will.
I'm pulling for the Giants.
I'll give you a second.
Thank you.
Yeah, they got shut out.
Pitcher was hard to beat.
Dale, I was pulling for Kansas City. I know you might have been pulling for something.
I was in honor of Stan.
Oh, okay, then I understand.
Vote.
Okay.
All right, Nathan.
Giving him 2 weeks.
2 weeks, but he's got a zoning police.
Ron said, let's get started. He ready to get out of here.
Councilman Everson, please. Thank you.
Passes with a 6-0 vote, 1 out of the chamber.
Our next case is 6143 Right Way Avenue.
That sounds like something over my way.
That's right over there off of Jewella
Right,
and Hollywood.
right across from Winfield.
Right. The owner,
201 East Columbia.
201 East Columbia was closed out. The owner has cleaned up the property.
Yeah.
It's what now?
The owner has cleaned up the property.
So you want to remove it from the
So
agenda?
do we need to make a motion?
You want to remove that from the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll move to remove it.
I'll
from-
second it and let's move it. All right. 6, 1 out of the chamber. Mr. Green, is it, the lady from, now this is Joseph. Is Joseph here?
No, he's not here. I talked to him today. I went out and inspected the property myself. The city is set to set his water meter during sometime this week. The east side of the structure has to be put back. Once they do that, the plumber can do his work. Everything else is pretty much done. He just has to paint that side and the
How
back.
much time you want now?
We're gonna give him a month. We're gonna give him to the next council meeting.
So move.
Second.
All right, let's vote.
Did you say the next council?
30
meeting?
days.
Yes, sir. 30 days, 30 days.
30 days is November 23rd.
All right.
I'm sorry, 27th.
We on that Friday. We're gonna.
Tell him we have a,
24th, I
November
believe.
24th.
Yeah,
tell him we have a very compassionate council down here.
okay. I will
Being
do.
led by
All right.
Sam Jenkins' cousin. Oliver.
Okay.
All right, who's next?
Next one is 277 West 71st Street.
That sound like it might be. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, as of Friday.
I'm sorry, but you're going to show us your head, not your cap.
Take your cap off.
Go ahead, take your cap off.
Okay. Went by the house on Friday. The owner has done a lot of work, but it's on the inside of the structure. He needs to step to the outside of the structure, replace the seals on the northwest side, southeast, and southwest sides. They've been, and also the garage needs to be either enclosed or put back together, and the exterior needs to be painted within the next 60 days.
Mr. Bass?
Yes, sir, that's no problem. We bought the property and all this was going on, and we had bought the property when all this stuff was served. So Matthews, whoever I think his name was, Vernon Matthews, he owned the property and we bought it and all that stuff was sent to him. So we didn't know nothing about it till after they posted some stuff on our house. And so I come down, and of course they told me here that it was okay for me to work for the structure in the house, so which is right, I almost got it finished. So I'm ready to go on the outside, just as long as I get permission. They told me I had to come to get permission to do this.
And 60 days enough for you?
So 60 days away, and actually I'll have it ready in the next probably 2 or 3 weeks, but if you go ahead and give me 60 days, that way I've already bought another property, I'm working on it too, so it would really work out.
So moved. Okay, it's been moved and second. We'll give him the 60 days.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bass, lots of luck here.
Thank you, sir, I appreciate y'all.
Okay, appreciate you coming down. All right, we've taken care of Miss Patterson.
December 8th.
Miss Sanders, what? Is Miss Sanders here? Wait, okay.
That was November.
Okay, this is 3103 Milam.
60 days.
Okay. Okay, as of Friday, at 3103 Milam Street, the biggest issue is the go-between between the structures.
Is that you, Rose?
I don't know.
Yes.
It is mine, it's
Yes.
Sam's. Sam's and,
It's the corner of Milam and,
oh, okay.
I talked to you already.
okay.
Okay, you talked to me already?
Yeah, I did.
You know that nice bass voice that you heard over the phone?
Yeah,
That was him.
That was me.
You see that? That wasn't me.
I'm looking at 3103 Milam, right?
Right.
Okay, let's hear what you got to say now. What's going on?
Well, it's a demo rehab. The structure is rehabable, very much so. It's the go-between between the structures
I see.
that needs to be replaced. The structure also needs to be painted. Garage needs to be, the windows need to be put in or made to be weather tight.
Right. What's your recommendation?
We can give him 60 days, because like I say, it's not in danger of falling or collapsing or anything like that. He just needs to go ahead and take care of that.
Now, you
Why
live
don't
in
we
my
give him 90
district, right,
days?
Mr. Sanders?
Say again?
So
You
why
live
don't we
in-
give him 90
live in my
days? It's
district.
an upstairs. It looks like it's two-story, huh? It looks two-story.
Yes, it is.
So I move to give him 90 days.
Second on that, it's been moved by Councilwoman McCullough, second by the
It's a
chair,
two-story.
that we would give him 90 days. All right, you have your 90 days with the 6-0, the 6 vote, one out of the chamber.
What's that date, B? He needs that date.
It'll be around January 12th. I haven't published the schedule yet
Okay.
for next year, so I don't want to give him a definite date. But we'll
So around that time.
Okay,
We'll get
that'll,
January.
I wrote a whole speech, I ain't even gotta give it, that's good.
All
You want
right.
to read your speech? Go ahead and read your speech. Get out of
Yeah, if you
stage
want,
fright.
right, if you want to
Come
read
on,
your
read
speech,
your
I need,
speech.
right, I need you to write, and then you don't get a chance to read it. Come on. Come on.
I said, I have the plan and detailed rehabilitation of the structure located at 3103 Milam. The plan entails on how I'm gonna rehab it within a 90-day period and make it an asset to the neighborhood and a tax asset to the city and not a liability, and a safe area for inhabitants around the surrounding area, and also save the city of Shreveport some money from having to tear it down.
All right, yeah, good.
See?
Yeah, Dale, that kind of sound like you put that together.
Yeah.
All right,
So he good.
next.
Last case, 5822, Ledbetter.
Hey.
Mr. Jacobs. All right.
All right. 5822 Ledbetter, a lot of work has been done. I would say the north side, pretty much all the rotted wood on the exterior of the structure, with the exception of the rear of the structure where the fascia board and the soffit area needs to be finished off. New electrical has been done to the structure. I see where they've started redoing the plumbing on the inside. They do need to address the garage. There's bees on the backside. You need to have those exterminated. You need to have the garage secured.
Are they making any honey? If they're making some honey, I might come out there.
I don't know, you can get a little closer and see if you want to.
Check it out yourself.
But,
all right. I'm gonna take Art with me.
Would y'all be good with the motion to extend 60 days?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Everson and second by the chair that we would give him, what was it, 60 days?
December 8th.
All right. That's 6 and 1 hour to change.
Ms. McCullough?
Yes.
Thank you. See, well, let me speak on that.
I believe that's it in the between. That's the last one, wasn't it?
Right.
Okay. Anybody have any added questions?
I do.
Okay.
I had a young lady to call me that traveled from Texas regarding, let me pull it up out of my notes here. Oh, I didn't save it, that's bad. But anyway, her mom has some property on Pier Avenue, and there was a problem, there's a problem. She has a bill from the utility company, and she has a bill from the city, which are, I think one bill came in August, and one bill came in September. The bill from the city was $200, the bill from the utility company was $100. She was billed twice for cutting the property. Her daughter's concern is that the reason why they hadn't cut the property is because, and they have photos, the utility company actually put a sign on the property saying, "Keep off," because there was a gas leak, which I think it had something to do with one of her neighbor's house as well. But the utility company actually posted, "Do not enter," you know. And so she said that was the reason why they didn't cut the property, you know, because the sign was there. And later, the utility company came and cut it and charged them $100. And the city came and cut it and charged them $200.
Right.
So how is it that they wind up with 2 bills within 1 month?
I have no idea.
So
Can I have an address or?
what I'm gonna do is, I wrote it in here, but I didn't save it, so I was in a hurry. I was writing it down as I was leaving the house, you know, to get all the details.
All right.
But it is on Pier Avenue.
Okay.
And her name is Kate, I just remembered her name. Her name is Kate Williams. And she resides on Pier Avenue. But I told them that I would inquire about why is it that she had 2 separate billings from both the utility company and the city as well within a month's period.
You think you can go?
And I asked her to provide copies of photos of the sign that was posted by the utility company,
Right.
"Keep off," you know, due to the gas leakage.
Well, it's
So I will
probably
call you tomorrow.
Close to the corner,
Huh?
close to the corner of Pier and Ford.
I believe so, and I might be able to give you her number. Hold on a minute, I might have her
Gas unit
number.
right there, and I've smelled it a few times coming through there.
Yeah, and so they were only following the orders of the utility company not to cut it.
We'll check it out.
And so, you know, but I'll make sure I get her number for you. I had wrote it down in my notes, but I didn't save it, so I'm so sorry. But anyway, Miss Kate Williams on P Avenue.
I got you.
And I'll give you that information on tomorrow.
Okay.
Shelley?
Thanks,
Those
Harris.
Cowboys are playing tonight. I'm gonna try to get us out of here so you can get a chance to see them.
Mr. Green, can you hold 1 sec?
Hold on, Terry.
Green.
Well, no, not now. I'll talk to you right after the meeting.
All right, I'm looking at you, Art.
That's it. We can keep the family reunion going, or we can call it a night.
Let's call it a night. All right, council meeting,
Mr. Green.
coming to a close.
Just kidding.
You know what?
That sense of humor is getting sharper.
Oliver. Oliver. Yeah. Now, we used to have a lot of fun down